My guest today is national recording artist Ashley Wineland. Now, she is the epitome of country music and brings a breath of fresh air with her electrifying single, Crank It Up, written by Stephen McEwan and Marti Frederiksen and Carrie Underwood. Now, Ashley emerged on the scene as a powerhouse, garnering audiences with her storytelling lyrics that cut to the core of the country music genre's essence, reflecting her passion and lifestyle of riding horses and dirt bikes. Now, throughout her journey, Ashley has used her platform to become not only a respected musician, but a voice for change in the industry, realizing that her music could raise awareness for causes close to her heart, including supporting veterans and animal rights. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the next superstar in country music, the young lady who knows how to crank it up, Ashley Wineland, to the show. Welcome, Ashley.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, where did your passion for music come from?
I say like the root of it all has just been one of those things that I've had since I was young. I've always loved the performing arts. I love creativity and especially doing so in a way that you get to bring other people in and really share the magic, I guess, for lack of a better word, that, music brings with people. And it wasn't really until I kind of hit like my early preteen years that I was like, ooh, I really love music as that medium of expressing myself creatively, of connecting with people. And I always kind of call it my snowball effect. It was like from there, I just kind of took every opportunity that came my way to learn and to network. And it has led to the growth that has led me here today.
Wow. Now, when did you start riding motorcycles?
Oh, well, see, that started way before the music. I've been a desert rat since I feel like since we came out of the womb. But we always grew up riding like ATVs and motorcycles and stuff. So I have pictures as young as like 5 on the back of a quad and stuff, just like ripping it up in the desert.
Well, what's your bike of choice?
Ooh, that's hard because there's so many good ones on the market now. Personally, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I have respect for all of like my road riders out there on like Harleys and everything like that. But because of my desert roots and growing up and stuff on like dirt bikes and everything, I do have to say I love leaning more in the dirt bike realm. I've had the pleasure of riding some like gas Husqvarnas and stuff recently, and I had a lot of fun on those. So I'd have to say that's kind of in my realm of where I'm enjoying life right now.
That's really funny because when I was a kid, the big deal was you had Honda. When it came to dirt bike, you had Honda, Suzuki, and Yamaha. You had Kawasaki, but if somebody brought the name Husqvarna, you're like, okay, they are on a different level. Of course, back in my day, we would have Bull Taco, which most people may
Yeah,
not even realize what a Bull Taco. You probably do, because I've
yeah.
seen some of your photos with the vintage motorcycles, which is like the coolest thing in the world. So you
Oh,
must like reading motorcycle magazines and guitar magazines.
well, I definitely like to dabble in both. I certainly love when like both of those worlds get to come together. I've had the pleasure of doing like national anthems and stuff for Supercross championship races and everything like that. So those days are the days I really get to geek out and have fun because two of my favorite things collide together at once.
Well, now let's talk about this brand new single of yours, Crank It Up. It is, to me, literally your best song ever. And
Oh, thank you.
because you had Stephen McEwan, Marti Frederiksen, and Carrie Underwood wrote Crank It Up. How did this song come into your possession?
Well, so actually, I got off tour last year and I started working on a brand new like album project basically with Marty as the producer. So we were sitting there and we had been working on a bunch of different songs. And I came back into Nashville to just kind of like recut some stuff that we thought needed, some touch ups on the other tunes. And while I was there for that trip, he was like, hey, I have this song that I wrote with Carrie and with Steve and stuff. And let me know what you think. Just like take a listen. Is it something you'd be interested in? And so he played the demo for me. And I got all giddy. I could see it being played at like sporting events and everything. And I looked at him and I said, "Is this one really on the table?" And he was like, "Yeah. Do you want to do it?" And I said, 100% yes. If you're giving me like clearance, let's go. So he was like, "All right, well, hey, let's just put your voice on it and see what happens." So I literally had the song for, I want to say, 12 hours, and some of those hours included sleeping before we went in and tracked the song and laid vocals down on it. But yeah, I just knew it was going to be something special from the moment I heard it and Marti brought it to the table. And obviously, it's after listening to it and doing the work on it, we were just like, okay, this is the helm song. This is the song that's going to announce the fact that we are working on this new project together and just really herald in this new era of music for me.
That I truly, truly believe. And I mean, with Marti Frederiksen, I mean, what was it like working with one of the most successful songwriter producers in music?
It's one of those things where, like, even still to this day, I have moments where I think to myself, is this really like real? Is this where life has taken me? And it's beautiful that I can say yes, for sure. And the most wonderful part about it is, we have a different relationship than your average artist producer. We are more in like a business partnership, as far as like he has, a lot of say in what the music does, where it goes. He's more invested in me as an artist than most producers are, right? So we have that really great relationship working and stuff. And to have his ear and his brain just working on every piece of music that we've touched and whatnot, it's been such a fun experience to learn from. It's always just one of those like mind exploding things to watch him work, because you're just like, wow, the fact that your brain is just so like streamlined to pull the best stuff out of anybody, whether it's myself, the musicians who come in to track on it, it doesn't matter. He knows how to pull the best to make the song really have the life that it needs. So it's been a true pleasure. I feel extremely blessed that I've been able to work with him on this.
So teaming up with Marti, it sounds like to me that it's more where he's helping you develop more as an artist, because a lot of record labels today, they're no longer in the development business.
Absolutely not. And the thing with Marti is I've known him for years now, and we've always stayed in touch. He had a lot of respect for the work that I've done thus far as an independent artist. And, I was always keeping him updated with the things that I had going on. And it finally came time last year where I was like, Marti, man, we have stayed in touch for all these years. We got to do something. We keep saying we're going to work on a project together. And, just with COVID and everything, the timing just never quite lined up. What do you say? Are you ready to go work on this album together? And he was like, 100% yes. Even just the respect that came from like, hey, you're an independent artist. You're still out there doing what you're doing, even through everything that's happened over the last couple of years. He had a lot of respect for that. So it was like a no-brainer for both of us to really come together and work in a capacity that's essentially like new for the industry and try to pioneer our own, format and way of being successful.
Well, being in the studio with Marti, what were some of the things that you've learned from him while being in the studio?
He has a really fun way of approaching vocals, and it's something that I appreciate. We'll go through and do full run throughs, like a good couple full run throughs of the song. And then, if there's something that really needs some extra TLC, we go in and we like track that. But he really appreciates being able to get a really organic sound out of the vocal takes and making sure that it all flows together in the way that you would hear it live. Which I personally really enjoy. Nothing's worse than when you love a recording and then when you go and hear the artist perform it live, if it doesn't match up to the way you're used to hearing it on the recording, such a letdown. So it's like that kind of circumvents that problem, because we really capture what it will sound like when you hear it in a live performance setting. But really just that like less is more approach that he takes with everything is just awesome. And then it's, if we want to add more, it's, we kind of add thin layers and we just build until it gets to a point where we're like, yeah, this is awesome. And I don't feel like I need to push beyond this. So that less is more approach is something that I've found really refreshing and so fun to see him work in as we've been going through this project together.
I've heard that said before when it comes to people working with veteran music producers. And I'm talking veterans to the point to where they know what it's like to actually record on tape. And where,
Yes.
live musicians would come in, lay down the track, maybe they're going to stack certain things, maybe it's going to be stacking the artist's voice. They just know, like you said, less is more, where you can listen to some songs on the radio today and you're like, that is way overproduced. It's like they were
Yeah.
trying too hard, and that does not make a hit record.
No, not at all. And yeah, to your point, somebody like Marty, who's a veteran in the studio, has been around for decades now. He's got that good ear for it. And I mean, another perk with Marty is he's a multi instrumentalist. So if there's something that's missing or something that needs to be fixed, he just goes in and does it himself. It doesn't matter if it's a guitar part, if it's drums or anything like that. He can go in and he knows how to tweak it, how to get it there and stuff. I think the even more fun part of it too is I can appreciate the family mentality of it all too. His son Evan worked as like the soundboard engineer on the whole project and stuff too. So it's really fun to like watch that knowledge be passed down, even from a family like son to father setting, and then work collaboratively together to bring it all to life.
I love that. Now, do you feel that your music career is now on a different level since working with Marty?
Oh, 100%. It was something that, whether it was Marty and I talking or the rest of my team and I talking, music at the end of the day, the calling card is the songs. If you got a good song, people can't really deny that. If they hear it and they know it's good, it is good. So I feel like really being able to step up an extra level with Marty at the helm of the music, producing, helping to curate the songs, writing music with Marty and everything, it's truly been that next step forward that I've always talked about with people of like needing, especially as an independent artist, that access to resources and help is always so like critically important. So it's like now we got our hands on it and it's like, oh, okay, well, how far can we even now push this? Because there's so much room for bigger possibilities than there ever has been before.
It's funny because I went back and I listened to a lot of your other songs.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there listening, and then I'm listening to Crank It Up. With Crank It Up, that song all by itself shows a brand new level of maturity compared to your past released singles, because Crank It Up has all of the elements to become a hit song, and when I listen to it, it is a hit song.
Thank you. Yeah, no, like I said, it was one of those songs, you can tell from listen one, like we did listening to the demo, like, ooh, this has got such strong bones and potential, and like, how can we like maximize it? But to your point as well, I also personally attribute it to being a really nice culmination of all the work that I've put in over the last, decade plus of working in music, of developing my craft and my voice, and being able to bring that in with strong songwriting and somebody who's fantastic on the production helm like Marty. It just really kind of brings all of that years and years of hard work together to be like, this is the quintessential essence of who I am in this current moment right now. And I couldn't have thought of a better reflection for it than that song.
Well, are you and Marty going to work on a full blown LP?
We are, yeah. We are actually just talking about it last week about scheduling some time together to come back out to Nashville and really curate as much as we can and write some more stuff to make it a full fledged album. Right now, if I'm being honest, we got like an EP's worth of music, so we want to add a couple more songs on there and make it a full fledged album for everybody, which I think is super exciting. Album projects are always just like, oh, they're so much fun to be able to curate them all together and tell a whole story with each song that you pick.
For you, because you're the perfect example. So you're a young artist, and I've interviewed so many recording legends, and and we're talking back in the day when, and it was funny just with the interview that I had before you. We talked about the days when the artist would get into their car and have a stack of 45s to go from radio station to radio station trying to get the right DJ to play the song, and superstars were made by connecting with the right DJ. Now we live in a world where everything is completely digital. So many artists are coming out with a single almost every week, either based on the fact that they're going to put out maybe a 3-song, 4-song, maybe a 6-song EP. Then we rarely see when a full-blown LP comes out. And I would rather see an artist come out with an LP and then just trickle out whatever singles that they want to do. For you, what's been the most difficult part of your journey?
I mean, to kind of add on to some of the things that you were talking about, as I've mentioned, I'm a full fledged independent artist, so I have no label backing or anything like that. Everything that I do is, these two hands, a small but mighty team of people, and, the resources that we can accumulate for ourselves. And a lot of it is, God bless, thanks to the fans and stuff for coming and supporting in whatever which way they can, coming to shows, buying merchandise, downloading, streaming the music, so on and so forth. But with that said, the hardest part of the journey has been to, keep that afloat and to balance that resource management while also especially with the digital world that we're in now, keeping up with the kind of, for lack of a better word, algorithmic demands of the industry. So, unfortunately, I wish at this point in my career I could have put out more music than I have. And that's me saying that with 3 albums under my belt right now that I've put out independently. I wish I could have more music out, to keep up with that schedule. And luckily with this project and stuff, I'm able to do that. But, it's that ebb and flow of going, okay, am I allocating my resources that I have towards touring and being out on the road and playing the music I do have for people? Or am I going to put it more towards developing new music and trying to, grow the online presence and that sort of notoriety in that direction? So I feel like out of all the things, that's probably been one of the harder parts. And of course, with that being said, patience is a virtue that this industry has taught me so much. I do not want to be patient whatsoever, but I find that the more that I'm not, the more I just shoot myself in the foot. So.
Well, and I get this on my end, but don't you find that it doesn't matter if you're an independent artist, you're a freelance creative of some sort. Don't you find that because of the algorithms, that promotion is just relentless every day? And then you're like, good Lord, how much more? Because, I mean, we live in a digital world. Everybody is on their phones, maybe on their computers. And you just have to keep pumping out content just to stay in front of their eyeballs.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it can be a little maddening sometimes to be in that constant state of like, all right, what's the next best thing and stuff. And I know there's a whole slew of people across the internet and stuff that have talked about it, that does it take away from you celebrating the wins that you have had and the good things that you have done, because you're always trying to chase what's the next thing, what do I need to keep putting in front of people and stuff in order for me to keep this whole thing afloat. But at the same time too, that's why I love my community, is they're always so great about it. They're just excited to be like, oh, we're just happy that you're making new things and that you have new stuff coming for us to enjoy, and that when like now we're on tour and everything, we get to come together in person and enjoy those things together. So for the days that it drives you crazy, you kind of pause and reflect back and think about the community aspect of it too, and you're like, but there's people who do enjoy the work that I do and appreciate that as well. And it helps take some of that extra burden off of your shoulders.
Well, for you, because you have a love of music, you also have a love of motorcycles. Has there been any collaboration between the two uh, to bring them together?
Oh yeah, I mean the Crank It Up music video was like a heyday of motorcycles and stunt riding and music. That was like my whole team was super excited when I had pitched the concept of the video for him. My videographer, Paradox Universe, they were like, "How often do we get to shoot an action like based music video?" Never, absolutely never. So we got to bring in stunt riders, which for us, for the motorcycles, was Carson Milliken and Cohen Hamby, who are some of the top two riders in Arizona right now, for supercross and motocross and all that sort of good stuff. So we just had a blast. I got to do some riding and driving around and like Can-Am side by side. It made my day. But yes, there are times where we get to pull the outside things that we love and bring them into music, and I've actually done that across multiple projects of mine, but this one particularly I got to include motorcycles in.
Well, I have to ask because I noticed that you have this logo, and this logo reminds me of the days of motocross. Really, kind of nostalgia. Really, back in the, like, let's say the 1970s. Is that a logo that was created for just to crank it up, or do you actually have a race team?
No, well, I would love to have a race team, but no, the intention behind the new logo design was with those things in mind. I wanted to play into my love of the outdoors and the moto elements and stuff, and just the culture of, like I said, motorcycles, outdoorsy kind of lifestyle things that I really loved. So we looked at a bunch of different logos that kind of fell in those realms, and pulled from the old logo that I did have and those logos, and kind of combined them all together to make what the new logo is now, which I love. And I'm so glad that you noticed that, because there was so much like deep thought that went into it when we were designing it. So it makes my day when somebody can like point that out.
Well, yeah, because the logo reminded. I mean, it's like, man, it's like I wish I had that sticker, so you could either slap it on the side of your helmet,
Yeah.
maybe, or put it on the side of your motorcycle trailer or your toolbox, because it just looks like it it's racing. When you see it,
Yes.
it's just cool.
I love that. Yeah, no, thank you. And it just as like a random side note, because you had mentioned the racing team, it's always been a goal of mine, to get to a place where I can go and support independent riders who are working like the supercross, outdoor motocross like circuit. Because I know how hard it is to be an independent artist. My dad grew up racing professional motocross, so we know on a deep level how hard those guys on the indie circuit for the professional racing like work. So I've always wanted to be able to go and give back to those guys and like power through, man. Like that team ride is waiting for you one day, or if you keep it independent, some of them do. It's like mad kudos and respect to the work that you're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love the fact that your initials are AW. So I think a collaboration with A&W Root Beer should be in the works.
Yes. Can you imagine how fun that would be? I
Oh,
actually drove by an A&W shop, like ice cream shop, the other day, and I was like, I haven't seen one of those in a hot second. But it made my day to see it. We were in North Dakota, I think, when we passed that one.
oh, that is so cool. So I know that you are working on a brand new upcoming album. What else do you have planned for 2024?
Hoo-wee. Well, like I said, we're out on tour right now, as you can tell. Bus behind. I'm sitting outside and letting everybody else hang out inside. But we're currently out on our Crank It Up tour. So this right now is taking us all the way through the end of October. So lots of shows and stuff on the calendar for people in the U.S. to come out and see us. Unfortunately, no international dates as of right now, but we are always hoping to change that. So keep an eye out for that for 2025 and everything. So yeah, we got that going on top of like the album itself being curated, we're releasing more singles off of that project throughout this year. So fans can expect to see some more music videos and single releases and stuff to, tie over that hunger for a full-fledged album until we're ready to put it out. But that's really the culmination of what we got going on for the rest of this year. A lot of projects in the works, lots of touring, and of course, just sharing the journey with everybody.
And what is your website for all of the fans out there to connect with you?
The best one-stop shop for it all. Social media links, music, fan club, all that sort of stuff is my website, ashleywineland.com.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, crank it up as Ashley's top tier vocals urge the listeners to embrace the wild, untamed spirit and crank up the volume, living in the thrill of the moment, kicking up the Arizona dirt, ready for her next journey. Ashley's new music resonates with the raw authenticity of her outdoor lifestyle, and her connection to the rugged desert landscape shines through with a gritty authenticity that sets it apart, leaving other artists, well, lost in her dust. And then there's Marti Frederiksen, known for co-writing and producing hits, crossing all genres with some of the world's best icons like Mick Jagger, Aerosmith and Carrie Underwood, even Faith Hill and, yes, Ozzy Osbourne and more. And he's the one that helped produce Crank It Up. And Marti infuses the song with elements of country and rock, adding depth and richness to Ashley's sound. So, hey, Crank It Up is a surefire hit song. So, country radio, it's time for you to crank it up. And for those of you watching and listening, call your local radio station. Tell them to play Ashley Wineland's newest, most powerful hit song, Crank It Up. So, Ashley, I want to thank you for coming by and sharing your career in music with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It has just been a pure joy to be here with y'all. Thank you to everyone who watched. And hopefully we will see you out on the road or sometime in the near future.
Hey, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Head over to ashleywineland.com. Keep up with her newest music and her tour schedule and her merch. So I want to thank you for watching and listening. And you can catch all the replays of our celebrity guests on our YouTube channel, as well as iTunes and Spotify and many other platforms. So be sure to subscribe as we have more superstars coming your way. But as for me, well, hey, it's time to ride. And it's time to crank it up. So I'll see you next time.